Inspiration comes to those who open their minds to others. Welcome to the Abyss Garden, a secluded land where we create endless pathways. Unique cards made to inspire your stories and to help you design unique artworks. This week, we are once again losing ourselves into the tale of a new character. For each of these 6 days, from Monday to Saturday, we are selecting a random card from our endless collection. Their purpose is to help us rekindle the flames of creation, to help us bring to life a new scene in the garden. The pathway we use today was called the secluded operator, and it states that unseen entities impact their environment's behavior. It's a notion that seems to permeate the garden. The idea that every single creature, plant, entity is but the result of its environment. That every point of view is a melting pot of the ones around it. This concept is quite close to my heart, and it feels like I somehow keep on stumbling upon it, again and again. In this peculiar exercise, where I try to discover new characters living in a garden, it's actually a really useful tool. Thinking about all the potential ways that could influence one's behavior, it often leads, in my opinion, to finding the keys that will determine this character's goals and purpose. And so today, I try to depict this idea in a bit of a more literal way. Given the environment of the Carver, the forest hanging seeds that it lives in, it seemed quite natural that any unseen entity could be hiding within some of these very seeds. What we'll see in this doodle is our character opening one, revealing its insides and the mysterious microcosm that lives within. I wanted to give the Carver this posture of kind of a painter looking at its palette of colors, its mind lost into its thoughts, its tools ready for the next stroke. But what it is looking at now is not a palette of color. It's an idol, some prophetic being influencing its ideas, spreading its words to the Carver. I really enjoy to have multiple tiny scenes within one. And here, besides this unraveling conversation, we also get to meet up with the other entities that were living within this seed. A group of sleepy creatures, which seem mesmerized by their prophets. Their eyes are closed, representing their blind beliefs offered to the one with the open eye. And finally, to keep us anchored in the environment, I also wanted to have this mysterious being slithering around in the background. On one hand, it is a reminder that we are still within the forest of hanging seeds, but on the other, it sneakily alludes to the fact that this faraway monster is seemingly all-knowing, that it is everywhere within the reach of the hanging forest. In the end, I'm fairly satisfied with this scene. I feel like it does depict quite well the idea I had in mind. The actions look to me clear enough, simple, and yet somehow filled with unknown. It once again brings to us more questions and answers as to why the Carver is doing its ominous tasks. And this might be the most important point that I would like to get across with these explorations of the garden. No matter how many questions we answer, there will always be more questions to be found. Like a flame expanding its reach, the further it grows, and the larger becomes the unknown that surrounds it. But I guess it's now time for us to discover the pathway that emerged from this scene. Its name is the Carver's Insights, and it states that inspiration comes to those who open their minds to others. It is quite a simple idea on the surface, but with deep implications. There are 2 ways for a point of view to expand. The first is by slowly growing upon itself, finding opposites to its beliefs, combining them to ever more complex patterns. A bit as if you were locked on your own in a confined place, with no way out. But the second way is for it to absorb the point of views of others, to see the world through someone else's eyes. And the stronger your beliefs are, the harder it becomes for you to expand your horizons. The more rigid you become, the least prone you are to change. And ultimately, what stops changing simply dies. If you end up finding inspiration from this card, I'd love to hear about it. Also, if you end up creating some artworks from one of our pathways, contact me. I'd probably be happy to send you some physical ones as a gift. But in the meantime, I wish you a nice day, and I'll see you tomorrow for the continuation of our tiny tale.